Lightfall may have been a hangover to a lot of the Destiny community, but to get to the hangover, you had to have some good times along the way. So, just like the naughty list, it's time to cover the nice list. Everything Lightfall did right. Did you know to get off of the naughty list, you need to use code EVAN at checkout at Gamersubs. Hey guys, you can get free samples, and I mean free, completely free. All you need is an email and a place to ship it to. That's it. Free samples using the link down below with Gamersubs. Look, they don't pay me to say this stuff. I'm just telling you right now. I guess I do get a commission if you use my code. And for my nice list enjoyers who want to get a little bit naughty, I did just post a massive video on Evan Explains on my second channel, which I think you guys should go check out because it was a lot of fun to make that project. And I also wanted to just tell you guys that in 2024, my goal with the Evan Explains channel is to post more single player related content. I know I put zombies over there and not over here, but other than zombies, more single player related content over there, and then more variety multiplayer closer to Destiny and community story related content over here. Okay, so I'm gonna do variety on both channels. A little bit nervous, thinking about doing a Patreon one day. I'm not sure. It's a lot of risk, really scared. Hope you guys are there. Go check out Evan Explains. Help me to get to 70,000 subs, please. Okay, enjoy the video. Let's get the most obvious victory of Lightfall out of the way first. Strand. Strand is the culmination of all of Destiny's best parts in one subclass. Strand has movement options, namely the grapple hook, which is, dare I say, the best one in all of gaming. At least in the FPS department that I have played. Strand has been the most impactful portion of Lightfall. I don't think anyone will disagree with that. Its movement, its new playstyle with unraveling, suspending, and breaking the game in all of the fun ways has made it a must-have if you play Destiny. I made a whole video this year on how Strand movement was creating new ways to think about the game, and I think Bungie allowing people to experiment with it is what made it best. I can remember everyone thinking the Titan Super was going to be the worst, and now it is by far the best thanks to the Banner of War. I also really like that Strand kept getting new additions almost every season, with aspects changing it up that weren't just phoned in. Bungie learned their lesson from stasis weapons that took about a year after stasis came out to even have one, but stasis even got a rework this year because Bungie knew that Strand outclassed it in a lot of ways. I think Bungie always nails the core playing feel of Destiny. The abilities were visually appealing as they were ear candy, and the unique playstyle of Strand made it easily the best subclass since vanilla Destiny. I hope we can see a final one to end off Destiny 2 in the final shape. Make it red or yellow. Give me one final darkness-based subclass to end it all. Another notch on the nice list for Bungie is one that I believe falls under the radar to a lot of people. Systems. For every weird one we had, like the Guardian ranks and accommodations, there were some really great additions. You had loadouts in the game. Being able to swap to a custom build loadout for whatever occasion has made all the friends that I know who hate having to wait on me to put a mod on bask in the glory of my Titan. Truthfully, when you think about it, the loadout system has made for some amazing optimization in speedrunning and low manning as well. There's even a system they added to access your vault from orbit. You no longer have to worry about artifact mods on your armor. They're just applied when you select them. The champion mods now have been turned into ability based, so you don't need to constantly think about them, and you can instead build to scorch and suspend enemies, become radiant to break anti-barrier shields, jolt some targets to overload them. It all just works. And John Bungie, who came up with this, should be proud of themselves. Sparrows were updated to mostly all work at the same speed as Always On Time. Now, of course, Always On Time still has the ability to make Fallen not really shoot at it, and it's a great Sparrow flying Sparrow in general, but now I can finally use another Sparrow knowing that it can reach the same base speed. This is a great change that got me to care about Sparrows again. The king of them all, however, was Fireteam Finder. Released in the Season of the Wish as a beta, then fully released. This is exactly what Destiny needed. Plus, it's a great way for me to teach people some raids and have some better perspective on how others enjoy the game. I think that this will be a stepping stone for Bungie to make raiding harder than ever and really test the player base. No more gatekeeping. The Fireteam Finder is here to stay. What was also here to stay were the dungeons this year. I have my own grievances about Ghosts of the Deep, just because of how long the water sections last, but I can admit it's a major step up in atmosphere than some other dungeons, and it joins ranks as another Destiny eye candy to drop on a wallpaper. I love the twist this one had with Oryx's dead body as an arena, and the navigator from this dungeon completes the most busted build I think Destiny has ever had with the Banner of War. So the loot incentive is strong with this one. The only parts I didn't like here, other than the water section being too long, was the boss selection. Look, Light Hive are great, but they did nothing to make these Light Hive have a unique look or feel to them. We fought a Shark Light Hive, but he looked nothing like a shark, and we fought a Light Hive Wizard that just threw more moths at me. A little bump in the visual design would have helped, but I think this dungeon will be a lot of people's favorites, or at least near the top of their list, even if it's not mine. As far as the other dungeon, Warlord's Ruin, it is my favorite since the Shattered Throne released in 2018, and I think it understood the assignment in the grandest of ways. Please check out my entire dungeon breakdown video, because it came out about a week ago, and it's 30 minutes of me yapping about loving this dungeon. Other than that, the exotic missions were mostly a win. I think Avalon was a brilliant mission with the right amount of difficulty at first. I loved how difficult the endgame content was that I had to max out my build potential to reach the end. And again, Bungie nerfing difficulty that early kind of sucks now that the year has progressed and we're even stronger. But Avalon was amazing. I can't say I liked either of the exotic missions after it, but I know a lot of people who do, so I'm happy they're in the game. I would rather do a fun mission to get an exotic than a boring one, so props to Bungie for having 3 this year. Were they better than Presage or Operation Seraph Shield? No, but they were still great additions to the game that I would rather have than not. I also believe that the latest 2 exotic missions would have benefited from Bungie's original vision of difficulty with Lightfall, because without it, yeah, they're kind of rough. Crota was amazing. I think it's an impressive feat to have the lil bro of Destiny raids turned into a revengeful monster that kept day 1 raiders there longer than Oryx and Atheon, and with a raid that had 3 less encounters. Crota day 1 can really speak for itself. The contest mode was impressive on all fronts, and the big green man himself stood out to be the most challenging parts. This was one of the best moments of the year for me, and I spent so much time basically living in this raid that I know it like the back of my hand. I am so unbelievably excited for what the final shape has to offer raid-wise that I want to take it to the next level for the next raid zone, and I'll just say that I have some major plans you guys can expect for that day. The loot was fun, the encounters had twists, Crota was a menace, and Elysium is undefeated on day 1 remastered raids still. Wrath of the Machine, I am on my hands and knees barking for you next year. With all of the seasonal activities and more, I think often about how much fun I had with the less self-obsessed portions of Destiny. I really like the roguelite elements spread throughout the seasonal content, and want Bungie to push things like Coil forward. But I couldn't help but enjoy fishing just as much, when I got exotics for catching exotic fish and more goodies along the way. I really appreciate some passive fun in Destiny. It gives it the MMO feeling, and I hope they keep adding this way, because I don't want fishing to be sunset. But I do think it would be cool to build some personal spaces in the tower or an open area one day. Can you imagine base building in Destiny? Yeah, sign me up for that. I love the Headlong Time Trial, a place built for Strand to speedrun a previous mission, but I really want to see Bungie add more to this concept. If the community had access to make a time trial, I could only imagine what people could come up with, but I think Bungie should add more and more time trials here in the future. As far as other small activities go, the Vex incursion zones were a much better alternative to lost sectors for exotic farming. Never shall I ever want to do a lost sector when I could do a public event on Neomuna, and rid the bad luck protection in favor of getting an exotic I don't have. If you are a free-to-play player, Bungie for some reason does not give you bad luck protection on these. It is what it is, but I guess you can still get exotics guaranteed for doing this.
Husk. No, 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 absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just absolutely not. I just got that.
One weekend was the most unforeseen activity of all time. One that nobody could have predicted. The crafting. This fun little weekend might need another video made about it again one day. But it was a crafting bug that allowed weapons to work with perks they were not supposed to. And you could stack all the damage you want. You would see record times and a lot of laughs for the most part. Some people were a little salty about it, but those are the same hall monitors that never want to have fun with anything. So the crafting was amazing, and I'm happy it existed. Well, I think it's safe to say that despite all of the bad that came with Lightfall, there was a lot of wins still. Part of me thinks that the issues of business and some roaming issues that are due to time and power creep may have caused people to hate this year more than they probably should. If the story, Bungie business, power creep, and the raid were all great, would people have disliked Lightfall at all? Obviously, those are 4 major asks, but I think that it's important to remember that Lightfall, despite all of the grievances, had some good moments. Dare I say, much better system changes and decision making in seasonal content than Witch Queen seasons? Well, if I missed something from the nice list, please drop me a comment and have a wonderful rest of your day. I love you.